gonna get started with today's webinar, which is all about the 5 pillars of Pinterest marketing. These are the 5 things that you need to address if you're wanting to really use Pinterest to help get you more website traffic, brand exposure, and sales of your product. We can definitely get started. Oh, and just a shout out to my fellow Dot, Gabby. Hi, Gabby. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, wonderful. So the way I want to kind of interact with you guys today is I want to encourage you to ask lots of questions in the question bar. The ones that I don't get to during the live webinar, I'll be able to respond to you via email. We're going to have a slideshow presentation we go over together. But before we do that, I wanted to introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. My name is Danielle Miller. I'm a professional social media marketer and marketing coach. I own a company called Miller Media Management, where we offer done-for-you social media management services as well as professional corporate trainings. I am also a Adventures instructor over at the University of Hawaii here. That means I'm an instructor in the continuing education department. So I do a lot of training, which is one unique thing about working with me in this webinar and potentially in my upcoming course, Pinterest Pro. And what I love about teaching is really being able to respond to you and ask questions. So like I said, feel free to keep them coming throughout the presentation. All right, and without further ado, let's get that slideshow up so that we can begin learning about the 5 pillars of Pinterest marketing. All right, here we go. All right, I hope all of you guys can see this okay. So this is lesson 1 of my upcoming course, Pinterest Pro. Pinterest Pro is it's a 3-week course, and week by week we cover steps that you can take to do more with your Pinterest marketing and help track results. Plus, I'm going to teach all the attendees how to use Pinterest promoted pins, which are their ads. Okay, so without further ado, what are the 5 pillars of Pinterest marketing? So when it comes to marketing your business on Pinterest, the first element is always going to be your personal website. So this is where you get the most control. It's where you get to control the images that get pinned from your site, the pin descriptions that default with those images. And that's where a lot of the content that you want people to see is going to live. So we definitely want to address that. I'm going to give you some tips for 4 steps to take on your website. The next area is your profile. So this includes your profile picture, your description, your boards, which are your collections of different pins, and your individual pins. So we're going to talk about all of those things. Then another area is the ads. So earlier this year, Pinterest opened up their advertising feature called Promoted Pins to the everyday entrepreneur like you and I. And what that did was it gave us the power to now put an ad in front of our target audience and only pay when they click to our website. And the beauty of that is what you're paying is going to be less than the cost of a business card. So if you're the type of person who likes to go out to networking events and hand out business cards, imagine if every business card that you were handing out went to your target customer and that person was guaranteed to go to your website. That's how powerful these Pinterest ads can be. We also need to talk about keywords, because for those of you who aren't that familiar with Pinterest, Pinterest is so much more search than social. It's got a ton of power when it comes to SEO, or search engine optimization. And lastly, we need to talk about analytics. Analytics are the data that you get that are going to tell you if you're making progress, if you're actually achieving results. If people are clicking to your website, then where do they go on your website, and how long do they hang out on your website? All right, so without further ado, let's dive in. All right, so when it comes to your website, the very first step you need to take is making sure that your website in Pinterest see each other as verified websites. So Pinterest needs to know that you're the owner of your website. And in order to know that you're the owner of your website, they ask you to put a line of code on your site. So that's actually easier than one might think. If you guys can see my mouse, right here, if you were to go to your Pinterest profile and visit your profile settings, there's an option to put in your website. And right next to that, there's going to be a confirm website or verify website button. Then they're going to give you this really weird line of code down here. I love to use the plugin WordPress SEO by Yoast. What that plugin allows you to do is just paste this code in and it takes care of the rest for you. Either way, you want to make sure that you verify your website. When you verify your website, what it's going to allow you to do is get a little branding on every one of your pins, whether or not you're the pinner. It also is going to help unlock a feature of your analytics that's going to tell you how many people are coming from your pinning from your website every day and every month, and how many impressions those pins are getting you. So that is your way of tracking brand exposure. Now, step 2 is really easy, but for those of you who might not have taken it, this is when you want to institute right away. So you need to have Pinterest buttons on your website. You need a follow button, which is the button that will link to your profile so people can become your followers. And you're going to need the pin it button, which gives website visitors the ability to pin things from your website. You can get those using different plugins or simply by adding your Pinterest profile link into your website social toolbar or toolkit. Now, I want to deep dive into this rich pins category here. Rich pins are incredibly powerful and they're really important for anybody who is blogging, selling a product, promoting a retail location, or promoting a movie or app. And so we're going to dive into that on the next slide. And lastly, you need to make sure that the images that are on your website are pin friendly. What that means is every page of your website that you want shared on Pinterest should have a beautiful, eye-catching vertical image on the page. Now, I've seen time and time again people who blog and they're just using text, or the images in their blog posts are short and horizontal images. We want to switch that habit up so that we're also adding vertical images. These are going to take up a little more real estate in Pinterest news feed. That way, you get more attention for your company and your pins. All right, and then we want to make sure we're filling in the image alt tags. Now, this sounds more complicated than it actually is. It's incredibly easy. What this is having you do is when you upload an image to your website, you get the opportunity to write in a title for that image, and right under the title, there's going to be a box that calls for an alt tag, A-L-T, alt tag. And in that tag, you're going to write whatever you would like to be the default pin description for that image. Now, before we jump into rich pins, does anybody have any questions about your website? And there's a little bit of a delay on the video too, so I'll hold for a second while I see if there's any questions rolling in. Okay, looks like we're probably not having any trouble with your website. So let's move on to rich pins and deep dive into that subject. All right, so what are rich pins, first of all, right? Rich pins look different than everyday pins. They have your branding on them. They have a headline that you control on them, and they have your pin description that you put in. So in order to show you guys this, what I thought I would do is actually show you live on Pinterest the difference between a rich pin and a regular pin. So give me a moment. I'm going to switch my screen here. Hi again. Okay, so now what you should be able to see is my Pinterest screen here. So let's say we do a search for purses in Pinterest, and we'll see what comes up. So when I look through the results, what I'm seeing here is that the top results are all rich pins. Rich pins come from a verified source, so you know the pin doesn't link to somewhere spammy or a porn site, which I have seen before. And they also have the branding of the website that they came from. So you can see here on this one, these purses are from Nordstrom's, and they get their N here, and they get a line that says from Nordstrom's. And they also control this big bold headline right here, which is really nice. If I scroll a little further down, we'll probably see some examples right here and here and here of pins that are not rich pins. So one of the reasons it's important to get rich pins is because they rank higher in Pinterest guided search. All right, I'm going to switch back and we're going to talk about the 6 different types of rich pins that you can apply for. Hi again. And feel free to be asking questions along the way. I have a little console up, so I should be able to see your live questions as you have them. Oh, okay, I've got a couple. So to answer the questions that I have, right now I see Valerie saying she doesn't really have a website yet, but she posts from her Etsy shop. Valerie, you are spot on, and that is fantastic. Anytime that I talk about your website here, know that I consider your Etsy profile, your Etsy shop, your website. You're doing a great job, and Etsy is a great place to pin from. And they'll take care of a lot of the back-end work like rich pins for you. I see here that Louis says he's not really a tech-savvy person, and his website doesn't offer help with uploading code for rich pins. So is there any resources for Weebly? Let me get back to you. I'll do a little bit of research on that, and I will email you some Weebly-specific help resources for rich pins. All right, so let's dive back into rich pins. Thank you guys for your questions. I really appreciate them. All right, diving back into rich pins here. So there are 6 main types of rich pins, and each of them will give you some really cool special features. If your pin is a product, if you have enabled rich pins on your website, then that product can have a price associated with it and availability, meaning it will say whether or not that product is still in stock or if you've sold out. And bonus tip right here, another amazing feature of these product rich pins right here is that if you happen to drop your price by more than 10%, Pinterest will send a notification out to everybody who has pinned that product, letting them know it's on sale. So that's pretty powerful. Now, with article pins, you get to control your headline and your description. So for example, if we look over here on the side, if I wanted to change the headline right here to have it say something like new 2016 printables available, all I have to do is change the title on my blog post, and it will automatically update all the pins from my website with the new title. So that's pretty amazing, pretty powerful again. Recipes are going to have your ingredients, your cook time. It's even going to have your serving size. So does this recipe make 12 cookies or 24 cookies? Movies are really powerful. You'll get your reviews up there. And places will actually put a pinpoint on a map for you. Places are really important if you have a retail location. Or since I'm tuning in from Maui, we might have a lot of people here who have a tourist company or an activity company. You could then pin all your favorite spots and it will actually put a pinpoint on a map. So people can see the whole area that you serve and where you're offering your tours. Apps will put an install button in the corner. So that's also really important. And if you go through this process of applying for Richpins or putting this line of code for Richpins on your website, then you can verify that it works using the Richpin validator. And I want you guys to know too, if any of the things that you're hearing about during today's webinar sounds strange, I am offering a course, Pinterest Pro, where I literally walk through these tutorials step by step with live screen shares. So it will completely demystify how to do these things. Or you can Google. If you want to become a master Googler, you can find out how to do all of these things. I see Janet is wondering how she asks questions. She's tuning in from YouTube, so I just want to let you know, Janet, I can see the questions here that you're posting to YouTube, and I'll try to answer those as well. Thanks so much for tuning in from California. Okay, so if there's not any more questions about Richpins, I want to move into what you need to focus on with your profile. Okay, so when it comes to your profile, or excuse me, your keywords, of course. Let me explain first why I'm jumping from profile to keywords. In order to get your profile set up correctly, you need to know which keywords you're going after in Pinterest. So it's important that we cover this first so that you know when we get to the profile section, and I say put your keywords here, here, and here, you know which keywords you're using. So what can keywords do for you on Pinterest? Earlier, I mentioned that Pinterest is more search than social. What that means is Pinterest is more like Google than it is Facebook. People are going to Pinterest and searching for things, searching for ideas, tutorials, articles, and general inspiration. And when they're doing that, they're going up to the search bar like I did earlier with the purses demo, and they're typing in a word. So with that demo, what you might have seen is that we had this guided search bar appear. And this is how you're going to find out which keywords you need to use. So first, you can be doing customer research based on your keywords. And I want to show you how to do that in a second. Then you can also be analyzing your audience via your Pinterest analytics that we're going to talk about in a few slides. And then once you have your keywords, you want to make sure that they end up on your profile description, in your board names, in your board descriptions, pin descriptions, and back on your website in your image alt tags. So let's do a little demo. Let me show you how you can do a bit of customer research and look up some keywords on Pinterest. Hi again. All right. Bear with me for a moment while I open this up. Thank you. Okay, here we are. Let me share that. Okay, so if you guys can see right here, this is my Pinterest screen. I'll open it up a little bigger for you. So the search function is up here in the top bar, and you can search for things like, let's say, business marketing. Now, what happens when I type in business marketing is Pinterest guided search actually breaks it into 2 words. It's going to show me results for business and for marketing. And then it's going to have this great bar here, which is the guided search feature on Pinterest. So if I wanted business marketing ideas, I would simply click on ideas. And now it's going to refine the results. So when it comes to your Pinterest keywords, you should be testing some searches up in your Pinterest bar and see what suggestions come in the guided search bar. Then use those as your keywords, because you're going to have an easier time showing up in search results when you use these guided search suggestions to narrow your keyword. So ranking for business marketing ideas is easier than showing up in the search results for just business marketing. And beyond that, business marketing ideas, if I thought, man, that's my keyword, I want to show up for that, then one of the things that would be important is for me to create a board called business marketing ideas, and then pin things to that board, and in the pin descriptions, be writing business marketing ideas. Now, you want to elaborate a little more than that. Usually what I do is I write a beginning description, and then at the end, I'll add something like business marketing ideas. So adding keywords at the end, so that I still get the search factor, but when somebody's reading it, it reads really organically. I want to show you another tip, and this tip is going to help you do your customer research on Pinterest. So I'd love to hear too if you guys have heard of this idea before or not. So let's see. Valerie, thank you. My earrings came from my mom, so thank you so much. Valerie said she loves my earrings. Okay, so let's talk about this customer search and customer research. What I want to have you do, is, and this works particularly well if you have your own website, is I want you to go up into the URL bar, and I want you to type in pinterest.com/source/ and then type in your website without the www, but including the .com. So for me, the example becomes pinterest.com/source/mmmsocialmedia.com. And when I do that, it searches Pinterest for all the pins that exist that are coming from my website. This includes pins that I didn't pin. So, you know, we've got right here, Drea, who is an amazing branding graphics gal, if you guys want to get to know her a little bit. Drea pinned one of my articles, and so did Ruby and Sass. So what I would use this information from is to find out, you know, is this somebody who could be a potential customer for me? So for example, if I check out Angela's Pinterest profile, I can see that she has a board called Social Media. It's got my pin on it. It has 60 followers. And again, if I click on her name over here, I can see what else Andrea is into. I can look at her public profile. So, or Angela, excuse me. I was calling her Andrea. It's Angela. So Angela is also interested in Christmas, kombucha, food, meal planning, toys and stuff, music camp. So she's interested in all of these things. So doing this gives me a sneak peek into what other things my customers like. Now you can use this information in 2 ways. One, you can use it for blog post inspiration. So for me, it might be great if I did something called city farming lessons that also work for social media marketing. And in that way, she might go, man, I'm into city farming and I'm into social media. I want to read that blog post. Another way to use it is that I might create a board called City Farming in order to show up as as a pinner in that category. So if I want to show up as one of the people who have pinned in the City Farming category, then I just create a board and I pin things to that board, and Angela might also find me that way. Okay, so let's get back to the slideshow. And please, you guys, if you have any questions, I really encourage you to use the questions bar right down here. Okay, so we know where to go to do some search to find pins from our website. We understand what guided search is, and we know where to put the keywords once we've done our research. So now we can talk about our profile. So when it comes to your profile, this is your Pinterest resume. And for lack of a better term, this is where people get to see your profile picture, read your 160 character about description, and there's going to be a link to your website on there where people can easily click over to your website. And then we're also going to have our collections of boards. And so the boards that are on your Pinterest profile, just like we just looked at the boards that our customers have and we got an idea for what their personality is like, the boards that live on your profile should give your customers an idea of your personality. That's what makes our businesses unique. So it's really important to make sure you put a lot of effort into your Pinterest boards. Get creative. Don't be afraid to do something that's slightly off topic if you think that it's still going to resonate with your target audience. So the things that you really need to do with your Pinterest profile, first, you must, and this is not optional in my personal opinion, you must get a verified business account. So if you currently have a personal Pinterest account that you're planning on using to market your products and services, you can go over to business.pinterest.com and convert your personal account into a business account. Doing that unlocks your analytics. It gives you access to promoted pins, and it gives you more authority in the eyes of other pinners, more other Pinterest users. So you also want to make sure that you choose a profile name and description that includes those keywords that we talked about earlier. So I will let you know from past experience, I have tried using both my company name and my personal name as my profile, and I got more followers faster when I used my personal name. If I wanted, I could do something like Pinterest expert Anna Bennett, and I could say Danielle Miller - social media marketer. And that would also help me rank a little higher for social media pins. You need to check your search settings. So this section down here, this little block, this is accessed via your settings, your Pinterest settings, and you need to make sure that the search privacy setting is set to no. That will mean that your profile can appear in Google search results. All right, I'm going to repeat that because that's extremely powerful. If you make sure that this setting is set to no, your pins and profile and boards can show up on page 1 of Google search results. That's because Pinterest has a lot of power as a website. They have high page rank. And so when you put a pin on there and a lot of people begin to share it or repin it, That tells Google this is quality content and should show up on page 1 of Google. Okay, the second thing is, if you're not yet using group boards, I want to encourage you to get on it. We need to be using group boards because they help us avoid the awkward audience building stage on Pinterest. If you join Pinterest and you only have 4 or 5 followers, maybe you even have 30 or 40 followers, that means those people are seeing your pins when you pin, but that's a very limited reach. Joining a group board can give you instant access to thousands of followers. And on the next slide, I'm going to show you a free tool for finding group boards. Okay, it looks like I have a question coming in, so I'm going to answer that. Julie Casco from Maui. Hi, Julie, fellow Dot. Julie is asking, she has a profile name question. If she wants a personal page and a business page, should she have her name also on her business page, like Julie Casco -- Blessed Widow? And my answer is yes, definitely, Julie. I think that it's on your personal page, you might even be Julie C. And on your business page, you might be Julie Casco, author of A Blessed Widow. So I hope that answers your question. Now we're going to tune back in. When it comes to, I'm just going to wrap up this your profile section so we can get to the meat of the presentation, which is talking about Pinterest group boards a little bit. So down here, the step 3 pin optimization, you want to make sure that when you're pinning things, you're choosing eye-catching photos. That makes a huge difference. You want to look for rich pins because that's going to save you the step of having to click all the way through to the website and make sure it's going to a really good source. Rich pins, remember, the source is already validated, meaning you get to save that step. And if it's a rich pin and you recognize it's from Nordstrom's and you know that they're a credible website, you can just instantly repin that. You also want to be putting keywords in your descriptions. So don't ever hesitate to edit the description that's already on a pin to make it something that, first of all, sounds more user-friendly and readable. And second of all, include some keywords at the bottom of the description. And lastly, I want to clear up any confusion that might be out there regarding hashtags on Pinterest. This right here is a screenshot from an extremely helpful and detailed guide Pinterest provides everyone on what they want people to be pinning. And I've highlighted a section right here. They are specifically asking us, oh, and of course there we go. They are specifically asking us not to use hashtags in our pins or our boards. So don't use them. It's not worth your time. On a lighter note, you don't have to go back and edit descriptions if they already have hashtags in them. Don't worry about it. It's not going to hurt your ranking. It's just going to, it's not necessary moving forward. All right. Any questions about profiles before we talk about group boards? All right, so let's dive into group boards. So first of all, I'm going to focus on joining group boards. And my Pinterest Pro class, I take this a few steps further, and I also talk about hosting group boards, but we're going to be a little bit pressed for time. So I want to talk specifically about joining group boards. For some of you, the tool PinGroupie, this tool right here, is going to be brand new. And for others, you might have heard of it before, but I'm going to go a layer deeper. My goal anytime I'm teaching a group of people is to take it a step further than the average teacher, the average blog post. I want to give you an extra layer of information that can help you use it better. So you might have heard of PinGroupie before, but I'm going to give you 3 tips about using PinGroupie so that you can get better results. And I'm actually going to take you over to PinGroupie, and we're going to do a demo live on how to use this tool. But first, let's just go over these. So tip 1 in using PinGroupie is that you want to search your keywords. Excuse me, let me have a sip of water. Much better. Okay. You want to search your keywords in both the title and the description field, because some people aren't putting the keyword in their title. Second tip, you want to make sure you're ranking the search results here by repins, and I'm going to talk about why that's really important in just a minute. And third, you want to be looking specifically for boards that have more than 20 contributors. And that's because some people start group boards with a very close-knit group of friends, maybe 5 or 6 or 7 friends, and they don't let other people join. So looking for boards that have at least 20 contributors is going to produce you results that are more likely to accept new people on the group board. Okay, so now we can switch over, and I'm going to show you PinGroupie. Hi again, I'm still here. Okay, PinGroupie, here we go. Okay, so PinGroupie lives at pingroupie.com. For now, it's a free tool. We'll see what happens to that in kind of in the more long term. And what's looking different here than the screenshot is that this website is mobile responsive, so their menu down here changes depending on what kind of device you're looking at it from. So I'm going to scroll past the big ad. There's no need to pay attention to that section. And I'm going to get right down here to these 5 fields. This is where we want to do our search. So let's say, for example, somebody is looking to join a group board about weddings, right? So if you're a creative business owner in the wedding industry, you want to find some group boards where people are sharing things about weddings. So I'm going to go ahead and put that into the title. I'm going to put the word wedding. And then, remember tip number 2, I'm going to order by repins, not collaborators. So it defaults to collaborators. I'm asking you to order by repins for one very specific reason. I'm coming at using Pinterest from the perspective of marketing your business. And marketing your business is all about getting shares so that you get a lot of brand exposure, so that the word of your business, the product that you have, the blog post that you have, gets passed on to other people. So it's really important if your group boards are getting a lot of repins, not just have a lot of followers. Okay, so again, I've ordered by repins, and I have my title in wedding, so I'm going to go ahead and click my filter button. What we're going to see here in the results is that we have a bunch of different wedding group boards that, man, look at this, you guys. Look over here. Look how many followers that you can get instant access to if you're a member of these group boards. And look how many repins are happening. This is a lot of action. So let's talk about what you do now. You would simply click on the name of the board. Oh, excuse me, let me pause for a second. I also want to bring up tip number 3 again. We want to look for a board that has more than 20 collaborators. So it's likely these first 7 results are kind of private boards. So I'm going to go down and look for this, South Asian wedding inspiration. And when I click on the board name, it instantly opens the board for me. And then I can read in the description to see if they give me information about how to join. Okay, and again, if I joined this group board, if I got an invitation from the board owner to join this group board, I will have the ability to reach 13,000 people when I pin to the board. Okay, but we're not spammers, right? We're not here to spam anybody. So when we join a group board, we're pinning valuable stuff. We're not just pinning our own products. We're also pinning great ideas and inspiration. And when you do that, when you bridge the gap from just pinning your stuff to kind of having more of a, I just want to provide you with something you'll find valuable perspective, you end up getting a lot more followers faster. So I want to highly encourage you guys to, if you're joining group boards, don't just pin your stuff, pin anything that you find relevant on that topic that's, you know, a quality pin. That way you'll get a lot of followers quickly. All right, I'm going to jump back over to the presentation now. And I'm also going to check in on our questions. Looks like nobody has too many questions going on right now. All right, so now we get to talk about your analytics. Ooh, as a marketer, analytics are my favorite. I could not do my job properly without them. Analytics would tell me if I'm doing a good job or a bad job. If the energy that I'm putting into Pinterest is actually paying off in terms of measurable results for my clients. So there are two places that you need to look for analytics, and not a lot of people talk about this, and I don't understand why. You need to have both your Pinterest analytics and your Google analytics when you're judging how your progress is going. So your Pinterest analytics are going to help you track your brand exposure. So it's going to tell you how many people you're reaching, and it's going to tell you on your profile what's really working. What are your best pins? What are your most popular pins? What are your most popular boards? And what other interests do your followers have that you might want to begin pinning about to get some more attention? In your Google Analytics, you will scroll down to the area called acquisition, and then you'll click on social. And I like to just look at the overview screen. And what that will tell you is, of the traffic coming from social media sites, how much of your traffic is coming from Pinterest. So in the past 30 days, I've had, what does it say, over 600 people, over 500 people come to my website from Pinterest. And that's really important because this is my kind of free tool for promoting my blog posts and getting website traffic. Okay, so now we know where to look in analytics. I also want to point out, my screenshot here doesn't show it, but right under where it says conversions, there's another option called user flow in Google Analytics. And this is where you can see, once somebody comes to your web page, where do they go? Do they instantly leave the page? Do they click through to maybe your about section or another blog post? So I did just get a question from Janet that I want to answer. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Janet asked, how can I tell in Pingroupy whose boards are showing up? And the answer to that is, Janet, you'll have to actually click on the board name and go to the site. And when you go there, you can look up in the URL. So it will say pinterest.com/, and then right there is that person's username. So that's how you can tell who owns the board. Okay, so I want to make sure that we get a little bit wrapped up here by 11, and I leave some room for question and answer. So we're going to move on from analytics to your ads. Yay! I love ads. Most people at this point in time in the presentation would say, oh, I'm not investing in advertising, so I'm not going to listen. But wait a second. Let me ask you this. Do you get business cards printed for your business? I know I do. I spend a couple $100s every quarter getting a brand new stack of business cards printed. And I do that because every time I'm out and about and I'm talking to somebody who's interested in my business, I hand them a business card. Right? If you can relate to this, let me reframe the exact same scenario, but on the internet. There are people out there interested in your business who are searching on Pinterest for you, and they want one of your business cards. You know what a business card looks like online? It looks like an ad. And even better than that, on Pinterest, it just looks like a pin. And these pins it only costs you money when somebody actually clicks through to your website. So I don't know if you guys see this all caps message that I'm telling you right here, but you get free repins if you use Pinterest ads. That's free shares, people. Free shares. I love free stuff, so I get really excited about that. So right here, when I'm talking about Pinterest versus Facebook, on Facebook, you have to pay every time somebody clicks. You pay if they like your post. You pay if they comment on your post. You pay if they click on your profile, and you pay if they click to your website. On Pinterest, you only pay when they go to your website. So you're getting free shares of your pin. Now I want to take a second and show you what these ads look like, because a recent report just came out from a company called Ahology, and what they found when they surveyed people was that most pinners, about 50% of pinners, click on ads because they're not bothered by them at all. And 40% of those people report buying something that they clicked on in an ad. So these ads are incredibly powerful. So let me show you what a Pinterest ad looks like so that you guys can see what I'm talking about here. Let me see, where am I going to get ads? Purses. I should probably get ads if we do purses again. So let me screen share my purses. Okay, so right here, now we're looking back at Pinterest again. I did a search for purses, and just as a refresher, we see our top bar right here with our guided search, right? So if I was trying to rank for purses, I would have boards called Purse Designer, Purses for School, Purses Vintage. Anyways, so now let's talk about ads. Of these 4 pins that you guys see right here at the top, one of them is an ad. Can anybody tell which one is the ad? All right, I'll let you know. The Pinterest ad is this one right here. And it looks just like the other pins, except it has this one little line right here called promoted by. And that's what tells me that this is an ad. So people are likely to click on this ad. If I click right now, this company is not being charged at all. I can check out the pin. I can see that this product is in stock at $16.24. And I can see this information here because this company has rich pins, which we talked about earlier. And now if I were to click one more time and actually go over to the OpenSky.com website, it's only then that that company will be charged. And I'm only going to click over there if I'm legit interested in buying their product, because I already know how much it costs and I already know what it looks like. That's why Pinterest ads are so powerful. Okay, so let me see if we have any questions about Pinterest ads, and I'm going to tune back over to the presentation. Okay, let's see. So I love this question, Janet. Great question. Janet's asking, in my experience, if I had to choose one ad platform, would it be Pinterest, or might it be Facebook or Twitter or any of the other ones that I can run an ad on? And my answer is actually 100% dependent on the goal of the ad. So there on Pinterest, if you're selling a product, I choose Pinterest 100 times out of 100 because you can't really sell on Facebook ads with the buy now button. In my experience, don't do that well. And I ran $45,000 worth of ads in Facebook in June. So I had a lot of experience running ads on Facebook, but buyers are shopping on Pinterest. So if you're looking for buyers, I'm going to run the ad on Pinterest. Now, on the other hand, if I'm looking to build a little brand exposure, maybe promote a video, I might use Facebook because Facebook video ads are really powerful. And that way you can also build a little brand exposure for your company and get some more likes for your page. So I hope that answered your question, Janet. And now I'm gonna jump back over to the presentation. Okay, so, oops, let me jump back. So in your ads, there's a couple of steps that you need to take. They make it really simple, but there are some areas that you can kind of skip over accidentally, and it's really important that you take all the time to take each step individually. If you don't choose a goal for your campaign, you could end up getting charged for those repins. You want to make sure that you pick a goal for the campaign and that goal is website clicks. Now, the other thing that I talked about here is that you need to choose your best pin when you're running an ad. So this is a pin that you would have added to your Pinterest profile a few months ago. And that way you can see if people responded to it organically. And if people organically, meaning unpaid, clicked on your ad and repinned it, then that pin makes a good ad. You need to be adding tracking data to the source of that pin so that Google Analytics will tell you how many people are clicking over to your website. You need to add keywords to your pin description, and you need to make sure you're picking your target audience. And this is a little bit tricky. Pinterest doesn't have as detailed targeting as Facebook does. So that's another area that you would want to consider if you're going to run some ads. And then you need to understand how to track and optimize your ad, meaning you want to pay attention to your click-through rates, what your cost per click is, and which keywords are performing best for you and which keywords are not performing best for you. And all of those details are tutorials that I walk you through step by step in my course, Pinterest Pro. So if you're a little bit nervous about this, it is going to be well worth it to join me for this course happening at the end of the month. The course starts on August 26th. And while we're at it, we're actually at the end of the official presentation for today. But before I start talking about my course just a little bit, I want to answer two more questions that came up. So first of all, Janice is asking, so for a restaurant, would I recommend advertising more on Facebook for exposure? And my answer is yes. Janice, Facebook ads for a local restaurant are really powerful because you could be filming a quick 15-second video showing off tonight's special, run that as an ad to people who are within 10 miles of your restaurant, and then get those people to walk in that night. So Facebook ads are really powerful for that. The way you might run a Pinterest ad to promote your restaurant would be by sharing some recipes, or maybe showing up for, like for example, I happen to know that your new restaurant is opening here in Maui, and one of the problems we have here in Maui is that we're always trying to reach tourists who are planning on coming here but are not here yet. And that's where Pinterest can help you, because Pinterest is where people plan things. So you would run an ad talking about your restaurant and encourage people to pin it to their Maui dream vacation. That way you're building exposure before people even get here. The second question that I got that I want to answer is from Janet. She says, in her experience, you need a PhD to run Facebook ads. And is that true with Pinterest, or is it more straightforward? And thankfully, Pinterest is definitely more straightforward. It does help to be walked through it once or twice, and that's what I'm going to be doing in my upcoming course. But they really are more straightforward. You can get an ad turned on in 10 minutes. But it's the tracking and optimizing where it's really valuable to have a marketing savvy person come in and help you fine tune your ad. And I have another question from Jay Louie. And Jay is saying, you know, how do I add tracking data, and what tracking data would I add to my promoted pin? So Google offers a free tool called a UTM link builder. And the UTM link builder puts a little bit of code on a link. And then in Google, it shows up in the tracking data. And so this is a little bit more detailed, but if you were to Google, do a Google search for Google UTM link builder, you'll see the free tool. You'll plug in Facebook as your campaign source. You'll plug in Pinterest ad as your campaign name, and then it'll spit out the link for you, and you'll just change the source link on your pin to that new link. So again, that's a tutorial I'll walk through in my course. So I definitely encourage you to either get on Googling or join me. And with that, I think what I'll do is just tell you one more moment about my course. So Pinterest Pro is my way of bringing the college classes I've been teaching and my private corporate trainings online so that everybody can take them, even if they're not here in Maui. And as a special thank you for all of you guys for tuning in for this live lesson, I'm actually giving all of you 50% off the course for the next 24 hours. So if you're interested in registering, you can use the register now button just below here, or you can go to asocialbiz.com. And the course starts on August 26th. And for 3 weeks, we're going to be holding weekly live webinars where I show you a lot of tutorials and have Q&A sessions. And beyond that, you're also getting a lot of accountability and coaching from me, which I typically charge $120 an hour for nowadays. So that's a huge value as part of the course. And I would love to see you guys in there. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. And without further ado, thank you so much and join me for the course. All right, everybody, have a great day. Again, thank you. I really appreciate you tuning in, and I'll stick around and look for any more questions in case any more filter in. All right, aloha.